Hello everyone, welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin and today we're going to be looking into the energy, insights, and guidance coming through for you for the next 2 weeks. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so welcome back my beautiful kindred spirits and anyone new who may be joining us here for the very first, second, or third time. If you've been here before, you'll know I put out these readings every single Monday and I put out these 2-week readings once a month. So if you want to be a part of the ongoing readings that we do here, if these resonate or if it's something that you're interested in, I have lots of different readings already on my channel, or you can subscribe to stay up to date as we move on through them. But as I mentioned already, we are going to be looking into the next 2 weeks. I pulled back out the charms here for you today and played around with different ways to set up these piles, so I hope you get ready and get settled. So before we start diving into these piles though, I do want to mention, as always, as it's a great way to support this space, the Kindred tip jar, as it's down below. It's a great way, as I mentioned, to not only support this space, but also it helps me to get more decks, supplies, charms, oracles, all that kind of stuff to make these readings even fuller and brighter and bigger for you all. And also you can check out the other offerings that I have on my Instagram and through my Instagram community and in the description down below for the witchy things that I get up to, as well as the more creative offerings. But I also love to do snail mail readings, and I've been very excited to get more into them now that my space has been kind of re-updated and revamped. So if that's something you're interested in, all of that information will be down below. But we're going to go ahead and get started with these piles. So with each pile, as I mentioned, there is a crystal as well as a charm. I actually think I'm going to end up putting this charm into my charm mix, so it might be the last time I use it for a topper here. But here we go for pile number 1. We have this piece of yellow Aventurine. And then the charm to go along with it is this little cute hummingbird. So that is pile number 1. For pile number 2 here, we have the crystal piece here of Carnelian. And then the charm is a little leaf. So that is pile number 2. And pile number 3 here, the actual crystal, I can't actually say what it specifically is as I found it naturally, but I figure it's a piece of mysterious Jasper. So that is the mysterious Jasper that we have here, as well as the charm of a adjustable wrench. So that is pile number 3. So before you start heading off to your pile with all of the timestamps and everything, I do invite you to take a deep and cleansing, intuitive and grounding breath here with me. So let's go ahead and do that here now. And as always, there's no right or wrong way to choose your piles here. You can choose 1 pile, 2 piles, all 3 of the piles. You can flip-flop between them. There really is no right or wrong way. There's no rule book. There's nothing you have to follow. Just play around, get curious. And all the timestamps will be down below as well as within the chapter marks of this video. And as I mentioned before, check out the Instagram community. It's a great, fun place to connect with me and others. Check out the channel more with subscribing and the Kindred tip jar down below. And I hope to see you in all of those different places and in your pile. And let's go ahead and get started with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you decide to choose this piece of yellow Aventurine as well as this tiny little charm of a hummingbird, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to set them both down here so you can see them during your reading, as today we are going to be using the charms, the watercolor affirmations. Lately I've been pulling them ahead of time, but today we're going to pull them during the reading. We're also going to be using several different oracle decks, Lenormand, and also the tarot deck of choice with the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. So I hope you guys are settled, ready to go, feeling your intuitive feelings, and we're going to see what's coming in for you for the next 2 weeks, both predictively and advice. So first we're going to look into 3 cards to just see the general and most prevalent energies showing up for you over the next 2 weeks for group 2. So feel free to send your energy through time and space. As always, I always invite you guys to use your own intuition and see what comes through. Okay, so we already have 2 cards flying out. So the first one that I saw was the Princess of Pentacles. I love the little helpers that are kind of hidden within this card, so we'll see if that shows up within the rest of your reading as well. And then we also have the 6 of Swords. Okay, let's go ahead and get the last part of your narrative here, and then I'll speak on what these cards are, what I'm getting from them so far. But yeah, let's see, group 1. So we also have the 4 of Torches. Okay, so I'm getting a feeling that you are actually like the child within this card. Like immediately when I was pulling it out and while I was shuffling for your last card there, I felt like you were the child on this person's back. Someone is climbing a hill for you or has climbed a hill for you in the past, and you're reaping the benefits over this next couple of weeks. That you're not necessarily that it was like you took something from them or you kind of took their energy in some way, and sort not in like a burden sort of way, but rather someone helped you get somewhere and you're appreciating their efforts, giving back some of that energy back, giving thanks and honoring them in some way. And I also, and even if it's not honoring, it's at least understanding that that was a dynamic that had occurred in the past and you are reaping benefits, whether it's ones you were expecting or not. The other thing with the 6 of Swords is that it does showcase a movement forward. This entire card is like, if it had like a keyword, it's movement. So it's either movement physically from one place to the next. Maybe you're traveling or moving house or changing rooms, or new things are happening within your work environment, however it may be. But there is even possibly a mental shift as well, because the swords do represent that air energy. So a new perspective or a new change in that way. Either way, you're moving from one place to the next, one mind frame to the next. However you're seeing it show up in this card is probably what is most prevalent for you. But I do think it does have more of a physical aspect, something that's grounded within the physical plane as well. So even if it is a mindset change, it might be related to something within work. It might be related to something within your body, like your physical body, the way that you're, the habits that you have, something on that level. Because we also have the Princess of Pentacles, and the Princess of Pentacles here does showcase them holding this little coin or pentacle, which is them sort of guarding, keepsaking, and keeping eye on this little opportunity that you have showing up here. And it's usually something within the physical plane, something you can actually see, taste, hear, smell, feel in some way. And like I said, there's all these little helpers in the background. So I do feel like there is someone in some way kind of helping you along this journey that you're moving from one place to the next. Someone is definitely within that journey for you. But yeah, I do see that showing up. And the other thing that I thought was interesting too is it almost is, not only are they cradling it, but there is sort of like a gestation period happening here, a fertility kind of feeling that's happening here. So it also is making me think that whatever you are working on and changing this mental shift towards or physical shift towards is something that not only are you guarding and keepsaking, but over the next 2 weeks it's probably growing. So if you think of it as like a seed, it's something that's finally seeding up and growing. Or if it's a seed that you've already planted in previous weeks, you're seeing more of the branches branching off. What I think is interesting with all of this energy, we have a lot of movement, a lot of shifts, lots of energy changing and shifting and evolving, is you also have the 4 of Torches, which in this case, it does, okay, let me get my words here. Typically, this card can have a feeling of taking a rest, and this is kind of a bird's eye view of looking at a bunch of burnt out torches. So I almost am getting this burnt out feeling as well, that maybe the reason why they're stepping in to help is because you're possibly feeling a little burnt out on the thing that you're protecting, working on, continuing to like bring fertility to and feeding whatever this idea and new movement is. And that might be why they are helping you through this and kind of lifting you up out of it, because even with the 6 of Swords, you can see sort of a stormy sky below, and they're moving you towards clearer skies. So they might even be giving you some mental clarity. So I would definitely recommend over these next 2 weeks as well, is if you are kind of stuck on how to deal with this situation, if you're needing that assistance, asking a friend, asking family members, asking close loved ones to help within the situation, let them know what's going on inside your mind, why there's this burnout, where this is coming from, so that you guys can get to the root of it so that it can grow more properly. The other thing that I would say too is to not only voice it, but like engage in that conversation. So if you've been waiting for someone to like ask you how you are or what's going on, or you've been hoping that someone picks up on your subtle signals that are showing up within your life that are showing this burnout, this is the time to actually actively ask for that help as well. Ask for them to get you to this stage, because most people aren't just going to pick you up without asking for that consent, without asking for you to let them know the mental thoughts that are showing up in your brain, letting them know how you're feeling, because a lot of us, we're all focused on ourselves a lot. We can't help it. It's just like a safety mechanism. I'm going to focus more on myself than I would, even my sister, even though she's a close loved one. So I'm not going to immediately always know. And even if I did pick up on it, and even if you are wanting a loved one to pick up on the fact that maybe you need picked up, you need a pick me up. Sometimes we don't want to push someone or tell them, hey, you look like you're looking down. Like, nobody wants to say that if they're not, So this is just being clear this week is what I would say, is clearly communicate how you're feeling, how this burnt out is feeling, and how you're feeling about this situation within what you're wanting to gain clarity in within this storm, and how this connects to what it is that you're trying to protect. So with that all said, I talked a lot on your 3 cards, so let's go ahead and move on to your next 2. This time we're going to pull from a different deck. I've typically been using my Seed and Sickle Oracle, but I was really feeling these Lenormand cards for this specific reason, just to keep things a little bit more simple. So we're going to pull one card over here for external influences over the next 2 weeks, so things like other people's feelings, thoughts, actions, and goals, and the bigger picture of like society. And then we're going to pull one that is more internal influences. So your thoughts, your feelings, your goals and dreams in life. Those all are going to be things in your control. So let's look what's outside of your control. What is external influences over the next 2 weeks for you? Group 1. What is the external? Okay, so we have a 7 showing up, a lot of mental energy again, with the Queen of Wands, and then there also is the Snake. And the Snake is very direct, as you can tell. They want to strike directly. They want to have that clear communication like I was talking about. So again, someone doesn't want to come off as this snake. I feel like there's someone in your life that maybe knows you're struggling, but doesn't know how to like let you know that they see you, and they don't want you to feel like they are being sort of in the way, or stepping on someone's toes in some way, or striking in to a vulnerable place that they shouldn't be in, So I feel like that's what's coming up here. They want to gain some more clarity on your situation, but there's that cloudy, like, should I not? I don't want to step on their toes kind of feeling, although it does seem like they want to help, or they want to ask how you're feeling. So let's go ahead and see what is in your influences. So the things that you can influence over the next 2 weeks on this situation. The next 2 weeks for group 1 here. The next 2 weeks. All right. So we have the Fox. Okay. This definitely makes sense. I'm getting a lot of stubborn energy from you guys, whether you know it or not. But we do have the stubborn Fox, and the idea that this Fox usually mentions the idea of independence, wanting independence, being the lone fox, not being a part of a wolf pack, not having leadership over or above you, kind of just going your own way. And like I was saying, they want to kind of be in community with you, want to help in some way. And you might be feeling that you want to just sort of do it yourself. You want to keep to your own, just do the next thing. And sometimes there's that stubbornness of not wanting to ask for that help, or receive, or being too stubborn to ask for it, even if you know you need it. We also have 14, which I think is interesting because 7 doubled. So having the help of 2 people, or having the help of someone come in, is doubling over here with that 14 and the 7. So I also think that's really interesting numerology, you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, we also have the Nine of Wands down here as well, which does showcase, usually the Nine of Wands showcases someone standing behind a border that they've created. So again, I think that you in the past have maybe created this border, say that you want to go at your own, you're moving on your own pace. You don't need the help of your parents anymore. You don't need the help of loved ones anymore. You don't need the help to take care of your children anymore. You want to go it on your own. But like, most things, it really does take a village, and it really does take community care for everyone to feel really welcomed and understood in a place. So I'm also going to now pull you a advice card, then we'll pull a watercolor affirmation, and then the charms. So if you are enjoying this reading so far, if you're getting something out of it, I would really appreciate it if you could just press a little like real quickly and let me know in a comment if you'd like. It really does help the engagement of this channel and the algorithm and things like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and look at your advice card for the week, these next 2 weeks, group 2. Advice coming through from spirit, from your higher self, however you may see it. Group 1. I don't know why I said 2 there. But anyways, group 1. We also have here emerge the Eastern tiger swallowtail. Been tripping over my words today. What am I opening into? Opening up. That's what I'm getting here. This feeling of clarity, and what you'll gain from that opening up. What you'll gain is clarity. So here we are with the emerge. I really love butterflies and the idea that yes, in some instances they can look really paper thin. You don't really notice them, and then others they're magnificent. You see the whole picture. And so I do think by you opening up, showing that whole picture, not really being in that guarded mode, you're going to gain a lot more. You're going to emerge a lot more. So that is what you're being guided towards. And it also shows the air element also here at the top. So that's even more to talk about actual communication and mental clarity. So I'm going to pull you your final card here, and then like I said, we'll do those charms to cast directly on the cards and get those little details for the end of the week, or the end of these 2 weeks rather. So let's see an affirmation for the next 2 weeks for group 1. 2 weeks for group 1, affirmation they need to hear. And this is something you can write down in your planner, and I think it's really interesting that this fell specifically on this card. I might even leave it there. But it says comparison is toxic. So this is about comparing people on social media, comparing other people's stories, even comparing yourself even to a past version of yourself, how clear and maybe how together you felt like you were then versus how you feel now, and how that can be sort of a toxic behavior to get ourselves in, because we can't go to the past. We can't go to that what if. We can't be another person. We know this, but we still tend to find ourselves comparing. So this is something to maybe work on for yourself in terms of how it compares to what you're trying to build within this card. So I'm going to still set it down here, but it does remind me of that coin, right? And how that comparison is maybe even something that you keep having kind of storm within you. So let's go ahead and pull you your charms, and we'll finish off your reading here. Feel free to send your energy in, and let's pull some charms for you for the week of the next 2 weeks. So let's go group 1. I keep getting 2 and 1 mixed here. If you guys are not fully feeling this one, maybe check out group 2 as well. But let's go ahead the next 2 weeks for group 1. Okay, let's zoom you in here so you can see everything a little bit better. Nothing fell on your comparison card, so I'll go ahead and move it up here for you. Okay, So the things that I noticed right away, we'll move this way throughout the board, is here on that 6 of swords, someone helping you up. We have the sort of turtle shell charm. I always think of it as like a shell or a tortoise shell, something being kind of shelled off, protected, right? A home as well. It can be a home that can create protection for us. And where it's showing up is that the feet of not only you, but also the person kind of holding you up. So I feel like them moving you is a way that you feel like maybe you're going back home or regressing back into your shell, regressing back into a place that isn't as free, more dependent. But interdependence can be something that it doesn't have to be independent or dependent. You can have something in between there, that interdependence, that back and forth that could be useful for you too. Going in and out of the shell is still an option, because I feel like it makes you feel like you have to freeze up, because we do have the icicle charm, or the ice snowflake rather, showing up here next to you as well. Then on by the comparison is toxic, and next to this page here, there is this feeling of emptiness. It's a heart. I always see this as like an inky heart. It feels sort of empty. It also can feel just depleted, like your energy is depleted, like I was talking about with that that 4. Oh my gosh, my numbers are everywhere today. That 4 of torches. There might be something just happening with numbers for you. That might just be something to keep in mind as you move through the week looking for angel numbers or something. And what I also found nearby is the roses charm. And I always think of this usually as something romantic, but I'm getting more of like smelling the roses, but it's feeling like it's too far away. Like you can't enjoy, you can't see it on there, but you can't enjoy the small things to smell the roses because you're too focused on needing to just at least have enough of your resources to even make it through the day-to-day activities. So again, that feeling again of needing to fill back up your cup because it's feeling too depleted. And then the last 2 charms we had show up here together on the left wing of the Eastern tiger swallowtail, this butterfly, and we have the button charm. And this one is from an old pair of jeans that I just grew out of, and the button just sort of fell off. And it's because I outgrew them. I got too, for me it was when I was younger, so it had more to do with like actually physically growing, but it can also just mean like us moving, kind of growing pains is what I'm getting from this, is like growing pains of moving from one version of yourself to another, or moving from one cycle to another. And then again, that feeling of logic, clarity, of needing to have the puzzle, the whole picture, have it all figured out. And the thing is, with each cycle that we move into, with each version of ourselves that we move into, we're only gaining a smaller amount of information, right? We're not gaining the whole picture. It's just one more piece in our puzzle of life. And sometimes we gain pieces, we lose pieces along the way, and this is reminding you to regain some of those pieces from a past version of yourself, because it's going to give you might even be this person, this past version of yourself, moving you forward. So those are all of the charms and cards here. I'll go ahead and zoom you back out. But I hope you did enjoy this reading. It definitely got a lot more detailed as we went along, but I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, how it resonated for you, if you saw any specific cards or charms really jump out at you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I always find that really interesting. Also, as I mentioned earlier, definitely be sure to give this video a like. It really does help. And you can also subscribe to the channel if that's something you're interested in, to be a part of this Kindred community as it continues to grow here in this space, as I put out new videos every single Monday for all different types of readings, which you can check out already on my channel. And if you want to even go a step further, definitely feel free to check out my Instagram community as well, as it is chock full of different things that I love to enjoy in my magical space, but also I love to interact with all of you, to see what you're up to in your magic, in your queer spaces, in your authentic versions of yourself coming through. And also it's a great way to seek out all of the different ways in which you can work with me, since I also have lots of different offerings that range in the magical community for spell paper, handmade paper, for artistic things and earrings. I also do snail mail readings and so much more. So if you want to see any of that, that'll all be down below. But before I waffle on anymore with my voice being all over the place today, I will leave you with all these messages, and I wish you the best for the next 2 weeks. Bye! Hello group 2, if you've decided to choose this piece of carnelian as well as this little leaf, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set it down right here for you to see it during your reading here today, as we are going to be using the charms, the watercolor affirmations, as well as several different oracle decks. We're also going to be using Lenormand today, and the tarot deck of choice is the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. So if you are settled, ready to go, have a drink, have something on the side, some water, maybe a meal to enjoy, however you wish to relax within this, feel free to pause and grab that. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So feel free to send your energy in through time and space. I will warn you, I am all fumbly with my words today, so if it comes out strange, that's just what's meant to be, I guess. So let's go ahead and get started. So group two, what do we have coming in for group 2 for their main energies and insights for the next 2 weeks? Group 2, the next 2 weeks, what do you have coming in? Okay, so first off we have Justice. Okay, so we have Justice showing up here. I always really like this card. It has a really interesting view in the idea of like perspective of how justice works in our lives, how big a consequence may feel versus how little someone else might feel it, the guilt feelings, those sorts of things is what what's showing up to me right off the bat. But we'll see a little bit more with 2 more cards here on those main energies. So group 2, and like I said, feel free to send your energy. It really does make a difference. So group 2, I'm going to take them both. Okay, so we also have the Hermit. And I love how otherworldly this one is. And then we also have the 5 of Cups. Okay, so a bit more of a challenging energy. It almost feels like you're challenging yourself in a way, and maybe trying to seek out some sort of balance for yourself, because we have this sort of unruly energy that the 5 of Cups can create, because the 5 of Cups usually showcases an idea of someone sort of knocking over our cups, and our cups being fulfilling things in life, the things that make us happy, the things that give us safety, the things that we treasure and hoard and enjoy, and those sorts of things. So if you imagine these are all cups and one is now empty, or 2 are now empty, why is it coming up empty? It's not really evident necessarily here. It could be a consequence to a situation that has shown up, not necessarily a consequence in like a bad way, but just like with every action there's an equal and opposite reaction sort of situation here. So yeah, the 5 of Cups does have that energy of sort of sitting with an emotion, sitting with that emptiness, sitting with that discontent that usually it's like a sticky, not so fun energy to enjoy or to take on. And for some of us, we might feel like we are in the waves and the thick of it, but others of us might just try to cover it up and say, oh, I'm fine, put on a smile and move through it. And either way, there is going to be a consequence to not really taking on that energy and processing it. So that might be something to explore there. And if you process it too much or go too deeply in it too, you can lose yourself in it, because here we have the Hermit, and the Hermit talks to isolation, pushing yourself to sort of, or pulling yourself rather, away from other people, not allowing yourself to take up space in another person's life, right? I'm almost getting this feeling like you don't want to be a bother. You don't want to be under, someone's hair. You don't want to be too seen. Because that's what I'm getting here, because like I said, with every action that we take, there's that opposite reaction, and what I'm getting is this feeling of like being judged for that, even if it's good reactions, like asking a friend, hey, you want to hang out, and then them not really wanting to hang out, and then that having that negative effect on you, and you feeling like maybe you're trying to take up too much space in your life, might as well just stay back. And I'm definitely not saying that it's necessarily that specific situation, but it's situations like that over this next couple of weeks that you might come across where you find yourself kind of receding back into your shell, or not even into your shell. It's more so that you're just sort of not wanting to take up too much space, not wanting to step on anyone's toes, not wanting to breathe too close to someone's neck, right? It's that kind of feeling. And I think I would encourage you to really take up a little bit more space, maybe understand why it is that you don't want to take up as much space, where that comes from, where the root of that is, understanding it a little bit more from a non-judgmental space from yourself and from others, because you have worthy things to bring to this world. You have stuff that is important and lots of people would benefit from. And I think you might just be scared. It reminds me of like someone starting an art piece and like the piece is a blank white page and you don't want to mess it up. You don't want to mess up someone else's art piece. You might as well just stay back, is what I'm getting from your energy. So let's look into it a little bit deeper to understand maybe the advice that's coming through and how you can work through some of these emotions that you're possibly feeling and that situation. So we're going to pull from this Lenormand deck one card over here for external influences over the next 2 weeks, and then internal influences. And the external influences are things that are influencing these next 2 weeks that are outside of your control. Other people's feelings, other people's thoughts, other people's actions that they take. And then we'll look into yours, the ones that are in your control, your feelings, thoughts, and emotions, and things like that. And it'll be really interesting for me to see this specific card because, as I said, I think you don't want to step on people's toes. And those are a lot of the time that's stuff that's outside of your control, right? We may feel guilt because of something that wasn't even in our control in the first place. So let's see here, group 2. What do we have showing up here for group 2 for their external influences, the things that are outside of their control, that they do not have control over? They might want to control it, but they cannot, at the end of the day, control. So what's coming up over these next 2 weeks? Group 2. What do we got here? Okay, so we have the Rider, as well as apparently another card I didn't realize even had fallen at some point. So we also have the Tree, which I think is really interesting. So we have the Rider in the Tree, we have the 9 of Hearts as well as the 7 of Hearts, both in that emotional suit. And then we have 1 and 5, so it could be 15, 51, however you may see it, might show off a little bit more information for you there. But this Tree represents health. It represents your health, mental health, that kind of stuff. And then the Rider is usually someone who is ready to kind of move to their next thing. They're kind of on their own journey, on their own path, doing their own thing. And as you can see, no one else is really on this journey with them. And that's maybe why you're possibly feeling like you're a bother in their life. You don't want to step on not necessarily their toes, but literally in their path. The other thing that, like, you don't want to be an obstacle. The other thing that I was saying, though, is the Rider is about communication. They love to communicate. You can see that they're a bard. They love to sing and dance. In this card, not necessarily the people you want to not be in the way of. They don't have to be musical. But the point is they want to use their voice and communicate with you and talk with you in some way. They have messages they want to send to the world and to other people, and that's part of their mental health. That's part of their journey. That's part of what makes them feel comfy and good. And those are things that you can't control. You can't control that they're on their own path, but what are the things that you can control about this? So group 2, all right, yours fell out quite fast. We have the Boat. Okay, so this is what we're getting, the things that you can control. Again, this is about someone on their own path, but you are allowed to set sail on your own path too. You're allowed to make waves in somebody's life, like you're allowed to make ripples. That's important, right? I'm really definitely seeing ripples, like the idea of like you throwing a rock in a water so that they can also feel the ripples and the effects of that, and that's okay. You're allowed to take up that space. You're allowed to go on your own ship and your own adventures and have that crew and have other people help you along the path. We have the 10 of Swords, which showcases a lot of mental energy in this case, so feeling like you can't maybe ask for that, or you don't want to again step on, I don't want to keep saying it, but basically step on people's toes. Or you make those ripples in the pond. We also have 3, which can represent teamwork, working in a team. So again, I feel like what's in your control is to take up more space, ask for the help that you may need, to make the waves, make the ripples, make the bigger moments in life, create that cause and effect. Because if you stay stationary, if you don't move, if you kind of shrink yourself into a ball and sort of go dormant, then your skills, your thoughts, your actions, your dreams all get minimized for the sake of others. And you're allowed, like, I know this is sort of like a very niche reference, but a lot of the time in like games such as Skyrim, the user doesn't have an easy path anyway. They're going to encounter other people, even if they can't see it. They're going to come across other people, other things, other moments in their life that are going to affect their journey. You are allowed to be one of them. So I think I just want to keep reminding you to take up space. So let's go ahead and get your advice card, and then we're going to pull you a watercolor affirmation as well as your charms, which we'll cast directly onto the cards, get those bits and bobs details. But if you are enjoying this reading so far, or you're getting something out of it that would be useful for you, I would appreciate it so much if you could give this video a like. I really do appreciate it. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments. But let's go ahead and pull that advice card for you. This is advice from Spirit, from the deck itself, from your higher self, however you may see it. Okay. Nice. All right. So we've got the red-tailed hawk, and it says, what is ready for action? You have the action suit, and it says here, dive. Dive right in. And we have so much with this oceany theme, and this feeling of, like, even with the hermit, like moving out into space, taking up that space, and then diving into that. And I think that the reason why this feels possibly more scary, this feeling of diving in, is because it's just like the idea of like diving into the deep end. You have to really, you can't like take usually baby steps, or even baby steps feel like that big. They have that big heightened feeling. Asking for help, if that's something that you don't normally do, then all of a sudden that feels much bigger than it maybe does to someone else. The scale is much higher. So what I would say would be most useful for you is to take those baby steps and understand that it's maybe not the same for everyone. Something that seems really big for you may be really easy for someone else, but that's okay. It's still okay to still take that. And also that your dreams and actions, your dreams are worth putting like a target towards, are worth getting in the path of other people towards, are worth taking up space for. So that's what I'm getting from this dive. Let's go ahead and pull you that affirmation. So this could be something you write in your planner. It could be something that would just be useful to you to say to yourself aloud. I would say taking up space is one of them. But let's go ahead and see your next 2 weeks in affirmation for group 2 here. All right. I think I've got 2. All right. So let's see. We have 3. I'll go ahead and take them all. Why not? Okay, of course, you've got let go of all you cannot control. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory with everything we've been talking about. You can't control how other people are going to react to you. And we also have harvest your blessings. And then also find, seek, and connect. Wow, does that not fully connect? We have like all of that showing up here with the finding and seeking connections beyond yourself. We have the let go of all you can't control showing up here next to the things you can't control, and then harvesting your blessings are the things you're diving for, making more blessings and more exciting things happen in your life because you take up that space, the benefits you'll reap from that. So I love that already for you. All right, so let's go ahead and let you take a moment here to look at these charms, see what comes through, even maybe from the placement of them, but also send your energy into them, and we will pull you them for your next 2 weeks. So here we go, the next 2 weeks for group 2. Okay, we have quite a few of them showing up here. I'll go ahead and zoom you in so you can see a little bit more in detail. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start here with the things you can't control anyway, and then we'll move into the things that are in your control. So we have the feather showing up here. The feather I always see as a open opportunity for communication. Usually this also can talk about spirit guide communication that might be coming in for assistance and help when it comes to your mental health or others. So it's again something you don't need to worry about. There is flexibility showing up here next to these little acorns, acorns being a seed of life. And what's showing up is that flexibility. So taking those baby steps, right? Like an acorn, that's a baby little tree in there, right? So allowing yourself the flexibility of what you'll be diving towards, those steps that you take, allowing yourself to be more flexible in them and not being so rigid. Other things that we have showing up here, you have the bolt on the rider. So I see this as, again, wanting to bolt from their path, because here we had it fall on the horse here, and it's making me think that you're wanting to bolt, try to just get away from it, don't want to be in their path, constantly flinching out of their path, sort of, in a way. I also see the bolt a lot having to do with needing to bolt yourself down as well, and really kind of like get in their path and really stay there. So it's kind of that fight or flight feeling, maybe having to work through that over these next 2 weeks, and not really sticking to your comfort zone, because this speaks to comfort. So that's showing up here, and putting yourself first, as it fell on the number 1, and being more comfortable in putting yourself first. The other things that we had here on the dive card next to the end, it almost felt like the hawk here was holding it, kind of like wanting to gift it to you as advice, as you have the like little hat here, and this hat speaks to adventure and allowing yourself to venture out. So that's showing up here again, sort of gifting you an adventure, gifting you the opportunity for adventure. And it doesn't necessarily mean travel, it's just whatever you want to put action towards that could be in the way of someone else, to allow yourself to do that. The other ones that we had here, and we only have 2 left here, is I usually see this as like a spiritual, however you see spirit in your life, whether it's a god, goddess, a deity, a spirit guide, your higher self, however you may see it. There's tons and tons of different ones, but however you may see it, it is showing up to help give you a little bit more of that clarity where that cloud and that sun is concerned, as it fell here next to this little sun. So that might be something to seek out a little bit of advice of when it comes to this sea of emotion you might have towards this situation, or just if you're feeling more emotional during the week. What's lying here at the feet of the Justice card is, I'm trying not to drop it, is the number 8. So it might be something that's happening in August, as that could be the 8th month, depending on when you are watching this. It can also be something to do with the 8th of the month that you're currently in. Again, depending on when you're watching this, it can also be just what the number 8 can represent, which is money, material things, success, that kind of stuff. And that's showing up sort of in the mind of the person looking at this justice figure. And then here we have the star, and the star represents hope and guidance. So it's also, instead of seeing the consequences as something that can be sort of like a strict rule and trying not to be in the way, it could be something that guides you instead. It could be your friend instead. It could be something that you actually embrace and use as sort of a guidepost. We had that showing up here, these stars, with the Find, Seek, and Connect card as well. So again, using it more as an advantage versus a disadvantage. So those are all of the cards and charms here. I do hope you got something out of this reading, and if you did, as I mentioned earlier, definitely let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear your thoughts. I love to see the little trinkets that you found to be useful to you and the different symbolism. Also, let me know with a like on this video. It really does help. If you want to be a part of this community even further, you can check out my Instagram community, as I do a lot of magic and a lot of fun witchy stuff over there, as well as tarot. And I also encourage you to check out the rest of the videos I have on the channel and subscribe or hit the notification bell, as I put out new videos every single Monday, and there's over 100 different ones to enjoy and look at already. So thank you so much for being here, for supporting this space if you have, through the different offerings I've provide as well with the snail mail readings that I do for private readings that I send to you in the mail. Those are so much fun. And you can also check out the Kindred tip jar and other ways down below in the description. So thank you so much for being here. I won't waffle on any further, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, Group 3. If you've decided to choose this mystery piece of possibly Jasper as well as this adjustable wrench, then this is the pile for you. I'll set them down right here so you can see them during your reading today, as we are going to be using the charms, the watercolor affirmations, as well as several different oracle decks. We're also going to be using the Lenormand cards, and we're also going to be using the tarot deck of choice with the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. So yeah, feel free to get settled, get ready to go. I will warn you, I am fumbling over my words today. It's just been one of those days, where you just twist your words. So, do forgive me for that as we move through it. And we'll see what comes in for you over the next 2 weeks. So feel free to send your energy in through time and space as always. It really does make a difference, truly. And we'll see what comes in for your next 2 weeks. So Group 3, let's look at the first 3 cards for the energy most prevalent over these next 2 weeks. So Group 3, the energy most prevalent over the next 2 weeks. So speaking of 2s, we have the 2 of Torches showing up here. I always feel specifically in this card, the 2 of Torches usually represents indecision or making a change to a new path, a branching off of sorts. And then there's also, just in this card, I always feel really drawn to this crack, almost like it's the pressure built up from the idea of needing to make this decision, this feeling of pressure. But also sometimes that pressure gives us an opportunity for a new space that could grow between them, or that it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be a multiple choice question or solution. So yeah, we'll keep that in mind. The other thing that I will look into is the other cards that you're showing up with for the main energies for the month. For the next 2 weeks, rather. So we have the Princess of Swords, also known as the Page of Swords. With this one, also, I just feel really connected to the imagery today, so I'm just talking about it in case it resonates for you. But I always feel like there's this, moon figure at the center of their chest there. So I feel like there's something to do with that as well, that intuitive energy. And that intuitive energy usually has something to do with that air element of communication and direction. So let's go ahead and get your final card here. I said final and it flips over right away. So here we are also with the Queen of Torches. A lot of court cards, so energy may be happening within yourself that's changing versus physical things happening within your environment. Might be happening. So things having to do with confidence, the way you communicate with yourself, and having to do with this indecision of should I stay, should I go, sort of a mental pressure that's possibly building up within you and bubbling up. This Queen of Torches has this huge bubbly energy as well. The torches have to do with fire, passion, the idea of, again, that pressure, just because a volcano can build worlds and new islands doesn't mean there isn't that destruction of it having to build up and have that big moment. And sometimes we need to confidently just make that big moment, make that big explosion, allow ourselves to have that expression of passion and power and confidence and all of that kind of stuff. So what I'm getting here is there's this feeling almost like you're wanting to move from the Princess of Swords into this Queen of Torches. So moving from this energy of having to constantly intuitively understand your environment, having to constantly correct yourself, sort of cross-reference things, check for information, see if this works, does that work. There's a lot of mental, logical energy happening here. And this isn't necessarily something I'm saying to just throw out the window, to throw logic out the window, but maybe having these two energies work together. We have these two doors, having these energies work together to sort of mediate and decrease the amount of pressure on you right now, or to allow that pressure valve to sort of escape a little bit. So we've got the Queen of Torches, this really big confident energy, and then that logical energy sort of working together. And then the Two of Torches, like I said, also can showcase beyond even just these two energies working together in that pressure element. It also can talk about wanting to go beyond what is known, going to the unknown, right? We don't know what's behind door number 1. We don't know what's behind door number 2. We're just hoping that with like a flashlight or with this torch that you would be able to see down the tunnel and know where it's going to lead. Maybe they both just circle back to each other. Maybe they branch out again. We don't know until we go down it. It's a bit like a maze. So the pressure of that unknown is maybe where that is coming from, and maybe wanting to gain all this information within the first week, and then using that exploration, passionate curiosity that we have showing up here is the best way to relieve some of that pressure. So allowing yourself to be curious and logical, allowing yourself to be intuitive, and allowing yourself to take up a bit of space within these. So I want to go ahead and see a little bit further here. So we're going to go ahead and pull you 2 different cards. And if you are typically here within my videos, you'll know what these are. But we're going to look into external influences and internal influences over the next 2 weeks. So the external being the things you can't control. When this pressure will hit, how things are going to happen in your outside world, other people's feelings, thoughts, emotions, society as a whole, the things you can't control. And then we're going to look into the things that you can, the internal influences, your actions, your thoughts, your memories, the way that you move through the world, the actions that you take. So let's go ahead and look first at the external influences, things outside of your control, bigger things like society, systems, that sort of stuff. So we have the dog. All right, and I'll pull your other one. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and pull them out together, actually. I've been doing it separately for the other ones, but let's look into the internal. Okay, so let's see. Wasn't expecting the lilies to come out. Interesting card for that. So here we are first with the friend card. So this is talking about a friend in your life, a loved one in your life. I'm really getting friendly energy, like, like a not necessarily man's in a gendered way, but just, man's best friend in that way. The idea of someone wanting to loyally keep coming back to you, keep coming to help you in some way to relieve some of that pressure. You might have someone seeking you out. These are, again, things that are outside of your control. You don't necessarily have to meet up with them or let them give you or gift you that help or offer that help. But at the end of the day, if they want to offer it, they will. The other things we have here is the 10 of Cups. There is this feeling of like an idealized friendship maybe showing up within this. So maybe taking a little bit of that pressure off them to be the idealistic friend as well. And then we have the number 18 showing up here as well, which maybe is their age, or it can be representing how long you've known them. It can represent also just the numbers 1 and 8, however you may see it. But I do think we have this Queen of Torches, the Princess of Swords, and this dog all looking in the same direction, looking to the past to maybe understand what the future will hold moving forward. So you might be having these conversations, these logical, intuitive, and confident conversations with someone who's offering their help, offering their loyalty, offering just to be there and engage with you in some way to help relieve this pressure. And possibly you take off the pressure off them for a common goal and for a reason to maybe not repeat the past in some way, and allow yourself to pave a new path. So now when it comes to the things that are in your control, you got the lilies here. And the lily card, like I said, kind of threw me off. But now that I'm looking at it a little bit further, it usually does showcase steps kind of moving up towards harmony, moving up towards peace, moving up towards a place of serenity, a place that it has more balance for you, a little bit more of that understanding where that pressure is sort of taken off. So you have in your power over the next 2 weeks to use all of the different resources at hand, using the help that may be coming from a loyal friend, using the confidence, using your own intuitive skills, and even more of that logical presence is showing up here with that King of Swords as well, or King of Spades. All of that working together to create a solution for you, or several solutions possibly, to lead you towards a place that feels more serene, more peaceful, and more at balance. And that is within your control to do so over these next 2 weeks. We also have the number 30 showing up in case that resonates as well. So with all of that in mind, let's go ahead and pull you your next card. And then later we'll move on to your affirmations as well as the charms, which we'll cast directly on the cards to look at those bits and bobs details for the next 2 weeks to finish off your reading. But let's go ahead and pull you this advice card. But before we do, if you are enjoying this reading so far, if you are finding these videos helpful on my channel, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how it resonates at the end or during or however or whenever you'd like to. But let's go ahead and pull you that card. All right, they keep flying out that way, so I'm going to go ahead and just take that direction, the direct card that we got here. So the first one that showed up, or the only one rather, that I'm going to take here is the coyote. What energizes me? And it says play, and what I'm getting from this is the coyote likes to play and kind of hop around, and I'm almost getting this feeling of like hopping in, checking what's inside this tunnel, hopping out, checking and getting curious. Like they're very curious creatures. They want to sort of listen and perk their ears and look this way and maybe try that and hop over here on this rock, and what does this rock feel like, right? Being curious about life, being playful, even the idea of your friends being playful and giving you the idea to play around. Maybe that would release some of that pressure as well, that feeling of that intense logic side that I was getting off the bat, and allowing a little bit more of that fluidity, allowing yourself to maybe mess up, make mistakes, play around in the mud and see what happens and just see what the effect would be, and giving yourself the opportunity to mess up, to maybe go down the wrong tunnel and see what's ahead, but coming back and changing your lanes and the way that you go through. Just because you choose one direction or you choose one action to move forward in the next 2 weeks doesn't mean you're subjected to only following that path from now and forever. So allowing yourself to play a little bit more and see what energy you can get from that, I think, is what I'm getting most in the idea of curiosity. So let's go ahead and pull you your affirmation, and then we'll pull you your charms. But yeah, what affirmation is showing up here for you, group 3, over the next 2 weeks? Group 3, next 2 weeks, an affirmation. All right, so we got a couple of them here. Let's see. So we got, it's a marathon, not a race, and of course, don't forget to play. So on point. So it's almost also telling yourself that you don't have to do everything all at once. As I was talking about the coyote, I was kind of talking about it all very fast and quick, but your curiosity can come in waves as well. And that's all right. It doesn't have to be something that's really quick and fast. So there we are with your 2 affirmations. It's a marathon, not a race, and don't forget to play. Let's go ahead and pull you your charm. So feel free to send your energy in. I love watching them on the screen. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into them for the bits and bob details for the next 2 weeks for you, group 3. Okay, not too many, lots of silver ones here. Let's go ahead and zoom you in so you can see a little bit more. There's nothing down here, so don't worry about it. The first one that I saw right away is this guiding light charm showing up here on your dog. So the guiding light charm usually showcases like a lighthouse would be. It's a way to gain information. So they have information that might be helpful for you. There's information outside of yourself that'll give you a little bit more, take off some of that pressure, understand what's ahead of you a little bit more. That might be Google searching, as Google is your friend, or it could also just be other sorts of friendships physically in your life as well. However, you might see a loyal source that will kind of guide your way. Another thing that I thought was interesting is we did actually get the dog charm. This is specifically the like wiener dog charm, which usually talks about endurance, something that you have to endure for a stretched out or longer period of time. And I think it's interesting that it fell over here by the serenity. So I think it's something that you want to, again, it's a marathon, not a race. It's something that you can enjoy serenity for a longer period of time if you give yourself that access to do so. And another reason I say that too is it showed up here with the like, what is it called? An anchor. You got the anchor charm, but this is specifically with the rope. And the rope makes me think of a choice. So this anchor is giving you the choice to put down the anchor and then raise it up when you need to. Put it down and raise it up when you need to. It doesn't have to be so black and white where it's like, once you've went through one of these doors, you don't get to come back, right? You can put the anchor down and then set sail again the next day. You're allowed to take a little bit of rest off from this pressure. That's okay. The other thing that we got here is the key. It fell next to the right side of the door, and then also closer to this Queen of Swords, which I think is interesting because this key is specifically related to the air element of logic. So logic, as I said, you definitely need that balance there, but logic is still important. Google or gaining information from friends and family or other places that are loyal to you and that you find as a very loyal, trustworthy space are going to give you answers, because this is the key. It opens an opportunity. It opens a door. So you are going to gain some of that information, but you don't have to do it so quickly. It can be a slower burn. The last charm that you got here on your coyote with what energizes me, the what is the idea of learning, of still learning and understanding and being more curious with the world, because we got the fish. And this always makes me think of the saying of like, it doesn't really help anyone to just get all of the fish for someone. It makes more sense to teach someone how to fish so they can better provide themselves. So I feel like if there's someone in your life that does want to offer that help, really make sure that you get curious about what that is that they're teaching, not just have them do it for you. Get curious, understand them and the mechanics, the logic behind it, and seek that out as well. So those are all of the charms and cards for your reading here today. I'll go ahead and zoom you out so you can see a little bit better, but those are all of them. If you did enjoy this reading, like I mentioned earlier, definitely let me know in a comment down below. I really, truly do love to hear your thoughts. I love to see how you make connections, use your own intuition, and how that all works out. I learn a lot from you all. And also, please be sure to give this video a like. It really does help the channel so much, and I really do truly appreciate it. If you want to be more a part of this community and benefit more from these videos, I put out new videos every single Monday for this Kindred Spirit community, and I have over 100 videos already on the channel for love, spirituality, for your own self-growth, empowerment, and all sorts of different types of readings. So if you're interested in those, I will have them on my channel, and you can subscribe to stay updated for each of them, hit the notification bell, all that jazz. You can also look even further by seeking out the different opportunities for snail mail readings and other fun private readings by checking out the offerings that I have on my Instagram. It's also a really lovely community over there. I love to talk witchcraft and my own ideas and thoughts. I'm active on my stories like every day, so I'd love to see you over there as well. And yeah, I think that's everything. Definitely check out the different ways you can support this space if you'd like to, with those snail mail readings, the Kindred tip jar, and others, all down below in the description. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.